Chapter 1, Basement Realities by Lynn and Dave. You said, right first chapter of novel, he has got the whole world in his hands, where their teenage son spends all his time in the basement alone building a computer ever since he was abducted by aliens. His parents ask him what he is doing. He says we are all just a simulation, nothing more. Yeah, 2 boys down the street were abducted by aliens and they came back different people. They're not the same. Their brains are intact, but their bodies are robots. It's funny, too. The other boy that lives down the street, he said he was going to join the Navy, and he went down to the recruiter's office, and they sent him only next door to board a ship. The trouble is we have no oceans in Creston. He had to go 1,000 miles to get to an ocean. So how can you get on the ship in the Navy in the middle of the United States? There's no oceans, and we're not even close to Lake Superior or Lake Michigan, so how is he going to board a ship here in Crestwood, Illinois? There's another odd thing. Nobody is leaving town or coming from anywhere else. Everybody is just in this town. It's like this town is the only thing that exists, and everything else is just a facade. ChatGPT said, Chapter 1, Basement Realities. In the quiet suburb of Crestwood, Illinois, life moved at a predictable pace, or at least it had until the incidents started happening. The town felt smaller lately, as if the world beyond its borders had turned into an elaborate mirage, and down in the basement of a modest 2-story house on Maple Drive, 17-year-old Jamie Thompson was consumed with a singular obsession, his computer. The basement was a chaotic haven of wires, soldering irons, and blinking LEDs. The hum of the machines was constant, a low vibration that seemed to seep into the house above. Jamie's parents, Karen and Tom, stood at the top of the stairs, exchanging nervous glances. Jamie, Karen called, her voice edged with concern. Dinner's ready. You've been down there all day. Can you take a break? No, came the curt reply. Jamie didn't even look up. His fingers danced across the keyboard, his eyes fixed on the screen in front of him. Tom sighed and took a tentative step down the creaky stairs. Son, we're worried about you. Ever since that night, you haven't been yourself. Jamie paused, his hands hovering above the keys. He turned his chair slowly to face them. His face was pale, illuminated by the glow of his monitors, and his eyes carried an intensity that made Karen shiver. You don't get it, do you? He said, his voice flat. We're not real. None of this is. The town, the people, even you two. It's all a simulation. Just code and algorithms. That's what I'm doing down here. I'm trying to prove it. Karen put a hand to her chest. Jamie, honey, what are you talking about? Jamie leaned forward, his voice lowering. You remember the Keller twins? The ones who disappeared for 2 weeks and then came back different? Karen and Tom exchanged uneasy looks. The Keller twins, 2 boys who lived 3 blocks over, had indeed been the talk of the town. They had vanished without a trace and then reappeared, claiming they'd been abducted by aliens. No one believed them at first, but their unnervingly robotic movements and monotone speech afterward were hard to ignore. They're not the same, Jamie continued. Their brains are intact, but their bodies, they're robots now, machines in human skin. I know, because I've been studying them. They don't even eat anymore. Ever notice that? Tom tried to laugh it off, but it came out shaky. Jamie, you've got a wild imagination, kid. Maybe you've been spending too much time alone. Let's go out for a walk. Clear your head. Jamie shook his head. You don't get it. You think it's weird that Kevin Sanders signed up for the Navy and boarded a ship next door in the middle of Crestwood? No oceans, no lakes, just a recruiting office that apparently doubles as a portal? That doesn't strike you as strange? Karen frowned. That is odd, but... And have you noticed, Jamie interrupted, his voice rising, that no one ever leaves this town anymore? No new people move in, no visitors, no deliveries from outside. It's like the rest of the world has been cut off, like we're all trapped inside some kind of loop. Karen and Tom were silent. I'm close, Jamie said, almost whispering now. I'm close to figuring it out. If I can hack into the system, I'll know the truth. We're just pawns living in a simulation built by something or someone out there. Tom rubbed his temples. Jamie, do you hear yourself? Aliens, simulations, robots. It's too much. Maybe we should talk to Dr. Harris again. Jamie's laugh was hollow. Dr. Harris? You mean the guy who's always in the diner but never actually eats anything? Yeah, he's part of it. They all are. I'm telling you, this town isn't real. Karen opened her mouth to respond, but a sudden deep hum vibrated through the house. The lights flickered and the basement computer screens flashed erratically. Jamie spun back to his setup, his hands flying over the keyboard. What's happening? Karen cried, gripping Tom's arm. Jamie didn't look back. They know I'm onto them. I think they're trying to reset the simulation. And then, as abruptly as it started, the hum stopped. The house was silent again, but Karen and Tom couldn't shake the feeling that something massive was watching them. Jamie turned his chair back to them, his expression eerily calm. Now do you believe me?